Welcome to Reread. I got two stories to talk to you about. One is a short story from Hyperspace, written by Jason Fry, called Deader Than a Triton Moon. It's off of a line that Han Solo delivers in the novelization of Empire Strikes Back. For some reason, only someone as geekish as Jason Fry would pick that out and go, what's a Triton moon? I need to write about that and what it means to be deader than a Triton moon. And it basically means lifeless is what it means. But no, Jason Fry's got such a vivid imagination. He makes up this planet where it's a bunch of insects who believe in some sort of god. And if you come to their planet, you're free to trade and whatever, but you can't have alcohol, gambling, women. You know, they're very religious, and you pay their tithe, their port tithe. But the whole while you're on the planet, they basically read to you from their scripture. And the scripture is always updated. Like every time you visit, they've made a few corrections and they'll tell you where the corrections are. And then they'll start reading for you chapter 1. And the only place they can go is this cantina, but all you can drink there is like, fruit juice and water. And so the guy of, oh gosh, what's his name? I wrote his name down here. Shandy, because I like that name. Shandy Fasano. Man, I missed out naming my kid Shandy, right? He basically goes down there and says, you know what? So he notices that the bugs will not follow him. These little insect aliens won't follow them into the cantina or on their ship, because those are their personal spaces and they don't preach to you there. And the rules don't apply there. Even though he's like, well, why don't you sell beer here? He went, well, I can't get it from my ship to the cantina. If I could keep it in the cantina, it'd be fine. He's like, oh. So Shandy has an idea. Why don't I just turn my spaceship into a bar? A cantina with gambling, women. He hires an old Twi'lek girl because those spacers are desperate. And then he doesn't carry any cargo with him. And, and so he's partying up and having people over. He buys a bigger freighter or whatever to expand his, ship so everyone's going in, getting drunk, getting rowdy, gambling and whatnot. And the bugs are just upset. They're irate over this, but he's not breaking their rules. And there's an Imperial officer on there going, all right, son, you're flirting with disaster. You're not making them happy. He went, so what? He said, screw them. They can't come to see me. It's against their rules. Well, of course, what's going to happen. They change their rules so that they can arrest him. And his punishment is to recite their whole, basically their Bible. There are these tracts, and he has to quote the religious tracts out in the cantina to all the humans, because they can't go into the cantina, but a human can. And if he does that 500 times, they'll let him go. He's thinking, okay, well, it's 20 verses. So, if I rest up, I could probably knock this out in a couple of days and I'll be good. No, because 20 verses is in the first tract, and there happens to be 313 tracts. And so he's there for like 4.5 years or something until he finally gets out, and he's telling this kid, the whole story is he's telling this kid about what happened to him. And how he kind of ended up winning at the end, even though, he hates those bugs and he stayed there. He hates the scripture he had to read, but he made some money in tips. So he walks away with 2 briefcases full of credits. And then he was going to tear it up right in front of the bugs, but they gave him his own copy of all 313 tracts of their gospel, which usually tract 1 is the only thing you can find, because they'll give everyone tract 1 for free. And then if they stay within the religion, they'll give them the other tracts. And they said there's, not that many copies of a copy 100 sells for a lot. And they said, but there's only like 6 known full copies outside of that planet, because they don't give them to anyone who asks. Only a disciple gets to have all 313 tracts. Like even a lot of the bugs on the planet don't have all 313 tracts. So, but they hated Shandy so much, they wanted to keep him there and punish him as long as they could. But they ended up giving him, thinking that, oh, well, now he's turned over a new leaf. They ended up giving him the whole tracts, and now he can sell those for like $1 million. And so he's going to come out rich. But was it worth it? You decide. Boy, I love that story. I remember the moment I started reading, I was like, oh, I remember what happens. It has got to be one of the best, not the best. I don't know. It's definitely one of the best Hyperspace short fiction pieces they had up there. You can find this on Joe's website, StarWarsTimeline.net, if you want to look it up, or I think it's readily available anywhere, really. But, oh, what a great story. Deader Than a Triton Moon. In fact, it's so good, that's the only one I'm going to talk about today, and I'll see you next time with the other one.